Hello, and welcome to Insightful Conversations with your host, 3 Principles practitioner, Adey-Jones. Join her each week as she welcomes some of the world's leading 3 Principles teachers and practitioners who share how this understanding has dramatically improved the quality of their lives and the lives of those they work with.
I'm so happy to have Jan Christenson with me today. Jan has worked with people as a nurse for many years, where she developed a deep understanding of our spirit within and a true caring for humanity. Jan also has a BA in psychology and has counseled people in different situations in the past. Having gone through many bouts of depression in her life and sustaining a head injury, she knows very well the dark depths that thoughts can take people to. With her life experiences, Jan is able to share a deep knowing of the spirit that lies within all of us. It is with joy and love that she helps people find their way back to their always present innate health. Jan is also the founder of the non-profit organization In Search of a Peaceful Mind. Welcome, Jan. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm thrilled to have you. I've seen your name for many years now in lots of different areas, so I'm so excited to meet you in person. Well, via Zoom, but as close to in person as we get these days. So it's just wonderful. You do so many wonderful things, but before we get into all of that, I would love to find out more about what led you to the principles and what was life like for you prior to the principles, and just give us a little bit of background would be wonderful.
Sure. Thank you, Del. And I'm so pleased to be here too. It's a thrill. I've known you for quite a while, and yeah, I'm happy to be here. So if I go back and kind of look at where I've come from, I guess first of all, to give you a bit of idea of what my education was, I've been a nurse for many, many, many years, and I also have a BA in psychology, and thought for a lot of years that mainstream psychology was really all that we had available to us. So finding the principles was really, really an incredible thing for me, as I think it is for most people.
Yeah.
It changed my life.
Yeah.
But if I look back at my life, when I was very young, I was a high-spirited child. I didn't notice a lot of things that went on around me. For example, if people would talk negatively about me, I didn't pay any attention to that. It just didn't faze me. I did not hear it. It didn't fall on me and land on me in any way that was harmful. And so life was good. And I felt free and enjoyed life until I was about 11 years old. And then things changed. And I got really sad, and I had many, many years of feeling sad and depressed. And a couple of things happened, and I don't enjoy sharing this, but I find that a lot of people come back to me and say, that really helped me. So I'll share a little bit of my experiences. And what happened to me was I had a guidance counselor who was very inappropriate with me in his office, sexually, touching me. And it was funny because I remembered him touching me, and then I couldn't remember anything about the rest of our time together until I was standing outside of his office. So for many years, I thought I was stupid. I thought I must be very stupid to not know what happened, because there was time that I was in there. What happened? So it wasn't until not that long ago that I came to understand what happened. And so he had drugged me, and who knows what took place in there. But it was a very horrifying thing to understand and to come to terms with. But I think it made me grow a lot, coming to understand what happened. And having the principles just made a huge difference in accepting what took place.
Yeah.
So I would say for any women who have struggles and have problems not liking themselves and have had similar experiences, there's lots of hope. Things can change.
Yeah.
So anyway, from there, I went through a lot of years of not liking myself and not really understanding it, but having a lot of depression. And I got married at a very young age, and that lasted 1 year. And I had wisdom inside me telling me, this is probably not the right partner for you. But I was on this path, and I said, well, I've accepted the ring now, so I guess I have to go through with it. And I carried on, and well, we've ordered the invitations now. I guess this is the path I'm going. It'll be okay. But it wasn't. And within a year, we were divorced, and that was just as well. So then I went and got my university degree in psychology, and that was good. That was a good understanding, but it didn't help me a lot with the feelings of inferiority and just not feeling good about myself. So then I went on and did get married again, and I had 2 children, had 2 daughters who are the light of my life. Absolutely adore them. They're now 26 and 31. So I've had many years of bliss with them, and yeah, I've been married for 33 years now. So things have gone quite well, all in all.
Yeah. That's oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Carry on sharing.
I was just going to say, lost my train of thought. Sorry. Oh yes, I nursed and raised my children. It was a very busy life, just like being on a treadmill or like a hamster on a wheel. Go 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 go. Until one day, the universe literally dropped me on my head. I wasn't paying attention to the signs that I was getting to listen, and I just wasn't paying attention. I was so caught up in my head and so caught up in a fast pace. So yeah, I got dumped on my head, and it probably saved my life, because if I had gone on being that busy and that stressed, I don't think I would be alive today.
Wow.
So the head injury, which I thought was so terrible, turned out to be a gift in the end. Everything slowed down. Let me tell you, it took me 10 years to get over that.
Yeah.
And I was told all sorts of things. They had a real heyday with me in mainstream psychology, because, I had memory loss, and they told me I would be forever cognitively impaired and depressed, and the labels came out in large numbers, and I felt quite hopeless. And I went along with this path of them trying to help me, and I was not getting any help. And finally I said to them, that's it. It's enough. I don't need your help anymore. I'll figure my way through this. So I walked away from all that, any support I had from workers' comp or anything like that. I just went away, and I decided I would write a course on how to reduce anxiety. And interestingly, I kept hearing in my mind, name your business. And I thought, well, why would I knew I wanted to call my business A Peaceful Mind, but I thought, why would I do that? So I didn't pay attention. But I kept hearing, name your business. So I named my business. I thought, I better do that. It keeps coming up, so I better do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then as soon as I did that, up came Nicola Bird on my news feed, because her business is A Little Peace of Mind. I guess they were similar enough that this connection was made. And I listened to a little bit of what she said about taking all your worries and writing them on a piece of paper, and one worry per paper, and crumple them up, put them in a paper bag, and set them up on a shelf. And you don't have to worry about them anymore. And I thought, oh, I love this. So I listened a little more. And then I heard her talk about Sydney Banks. I read about Sydney Banks, and I was just gone for days. I just read, and I felt like I had just found everything I needed to be okay. And literally, I have been okay since then. I fall in and I fall out of being okay, but I always come back to everything being fine. So it's been a real journey.
Yeah, I love that story. And it's so, as we always say, we don't learn the principles. We're just shown what is already going on, whether we know about them or not. And I love all those, things that you point to about where your wisdom, where your resilience was always operating and always there to serve you. And I also, I really want to thank you for sharing that experience that happened when you were 11, because I too went through some abuse, and I think it is by talking about it and showing that it doesn't define us, and that we, something may have happened in our life, but it never damaged or touched the essence of who we are. And we can go on and have incredible lives. And I think it is very important to share that for people. So thank you for doing that. So I love that. So you had already come across, or rather you had already got the message, In Search of a Peaceful Mind, before you even knew about the principles. And that, in fact, is what led.
Yes.
Yeah, that's so
Yes. Yeah.
great. So
That's just more wisdom.
yeah. Yeah, I love it. It's so funny. I love what you said about, being dropped on your head was the wake up call you needed. The same thing for me. I was going through a particularly painful divorce, and I came across a book, and I'm forever grateful that I was in that much pain, that it made me reach out for a book that said, "Stop thinking, start living," because my head was driving me insane. I mean, it was just, I was, literally, I was doing myself in with my thinking. So we're both really grateful that we are where we are. So I'd
Yeah.
like you to tell me a bit more about the In Search for a Peaceful Mind, because I know it's a wonderful nonprofit organization that you put together. And so tell us all about that.
Yes, I'd love to. Uh, it came to be actually since January. So it's very new, and it's taking time. Because of COVID, I haven't been able to move forward in the same way that I had thought I would. I thought I would be much further ahead, but not being able to get out and meet with people has really slowed me down. And so I did take a different path, but we'll get to that in a minute.
Mhm.
So with my nonprofit organization, my goal is to be able to get out there and get the word to the most vulnerable in our society, the homeless. And that could be homeless because of addiction, because of depression. We know there are many reasons why people end up in that situation. And some people are fine, they're happy with that. But I know some people are not happy that they are homeless. And I would love to be able to share the principles with them. They don't have money. So my goal is to be able to have conversations about the three principles with homeless people who want to change their life. That's the mission of the nonprofit. But it needs funding. So what I have done is I have coaches in the organization for both individuals and for corporations. So when coaches in my organization provide conversations with individuals and get paid for it, they then drop back 10% into my nonprofit, which I put towards having these conversations with homeless people. So it's a very nice circle that fits together well, and it just feels right. But as I mentioned, it has been slow moving because COVID came along, and I really needed to figure out another way to kind of achieve what I wanted to do. But when I couldn't get out and meet with people, it was a little bit difficult. So I had a conversation with Terry Almus. I don't know if you know her, but she has what's called TLC for Coaches, her business. And she was doing a website for me for In Search of a Peaceful Mind, the nonprofit. And she said, I told her, it's going really slow and I'd like things to move faster, but I know right now we need to just focus on getting COVID out of our lives. And she said, a really nice thing to have would be a Zoom room. And you could do that during COVID. Have a Zoom room where coaches talk to people about stresses or anything that's on their mind. And I said, I love that idea. And I just kind of ran with that. it just made so much sense to me. Focus on this right now. And when COVID is gone, then I can move on with the nonprofit. So my attention has been on the Zoom room, and it has been an education, let me tell you. It's been wonderful.
Yeah.
And it's open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If there's not a coach in the room, there'll be a video playing. So there's always some support there for anybody who's in need of settling their thinking down and just getting a little more peace inside. And in fact, the participants who have been in the Zoom room call it the peace room, because they say they go there and they just fall into peace. And I just love that.
Yeah.
I was so touched by that.
That is so lovely. I know I'm one of your volunteers. I do Thursdays at 3 p.m. Pacific, and it is lovely. I mean, some people just come and hang out and just want to listen, and other people come and just want to talk, and it's everything in between. And it is a beautiful space that I look forward to myself every week. So, and I know so many of the people that are benefiting from it share how incredible it is. I mean, some people during this COVID have been incredibly lonely. You know, that they're isolated, they're alone, they don't have, you know, other human contact. And to be able to have a space 24/7, as you said, where they can connect with like-minded people, and or just connect because they just, you know, want to find out more, or feel connected and loved and cared about. It's a beautiful thing, service that you do for everybody. So thank you so much.
Well, and thank you for joining in and being with us there,
Mhm.
because it wouldn't happen if we didn't have people like you in volunteering their time. And we have over 220 coaches now, which is unbelievable. And they're all trained in the three principles. They're either coaches or practitioners, one or the other, and able to really help people, show them a whole new way of experiencing themselves in the world, experiencing their spiritual side and their physical side, bringing those two together, and just living a life that is so different from what you live when you live only in the physical.
Yeah,
As
it's
we
so
know.
exactly, absolutely. So, so how is this? Are you planning to continue this once? Well, we don't know, but I'm in California. We just got the sort of semi-lockdown again here. So, but are you planning to continue this, regardless of whether we're, you know, being asked to stay at home and shelter or not?
I am. I
Yes.
do plan to carry on with this because it's been such a huge success, and it's done so many marvelous things for coaches too. It's a platform for them to test out the waters of coaching for anybody who's new at it. And it's been life changing for participants in ways that I never imagined it would be. I mean, I always knew that this had the potential to change everybody when they learn about it. But hearing from the participants and what it's done for them has really shown me that we need to continue with this, because it's a big help all around for participants, for coaches, for the world in general.
Yeah.
Anybody who is touched by this understanding moves forward in life in a whole new way. And the Zoom room is a great way, and it's international, it's worldwide, accessible to anybody, either by phone or by Zoom. Technology is wonderful today. You know, what we can do with that is
Exactly.
just absolutely mind blowing.
Yeah.
So the Zoom room will continue on for sure.
Oh,
And I have lots of ideas of things to come in there as well. So I think it'll
you would
be
like to share with us right now?
well, I'd like to make it a place where coaches are allowed to share the things that they're doing, because a lot of coaches have a lot of things going on, a lot to offer, and it's really hard to get that out in the world. So if we can somehow incorporate that with the Zoom room, with the nonprofit, I think it would be very helpful to coaches.
Yeah.
And some training.
Yeah,
possibility of that
that's
to help
wonderful.
people.
Yeah, when you were
Mhm.
sharing about the homeless communities, I know I work with specific. Well, I coach, and I'm a three principles practitioner, but I coach a wide variety of people. But my specialty and I would say the vast majority of my clients are clients that are dealing with codependency and narcissistic abuse, and I know that during these times in COVID, relationships have been particularly stressed. If they've already,
Oh, for sure.
yeah, exactly. If there are already challenges within the relationship, then having to be confined and put up, in such close proximity. And I always say it's easy to define something as abusive when you have a black eye or a broken jaw or something. You can say, I am in a physically abusive relationship. But there's mentally abusive relationships and spiritually abusive relationships that don't come up on the radar, and those people need as just as much support and help as the ones that are suffering from physical abuse. So I think that's
Oh,
wonderful
yeah.
to highlight certain coaches that are specialize in certain areas where people might want that specific help. I think that would be wonderful.
Yes,
Yeah, so
exactly.
I'd love to hear if you can think it. I'm going to put you on the spot here. If there's off the top of your head, if there's one story or any feedback you got from somebody that participated in the rooms and saw something, I would love to hear that. Stories are always
Oh,
great.
absolutely. I coach a little bit differently than your normal coaches would, because I come at it more from an angle of showing people the energy that is available to them. And once they see that and feel that, they just come alive in a different way. So it was a Friday, and I shared this experience. It's actually the experience that I had when I had my head injury. I had like a near death or death experience. Can't really say which, but I was on the other side for a little bit. And in experiencing that, I I didn't understand at the time what had happened. But of course, after finding the principles, I went, okay, now I get it. And what happened for me was I hit my head. I was unconscious and I was completely unaware of my body. And then suddenly I was in a dark place where I didn't have the use of my eyes or my ears, but yet I had eyes to see and ears to hear. I was able to see that it was very dark and have that thought, oh, it's quite dark here. But then I had the feeling of just floating. It was the most beautiful sensation that you could ever imagine. It just felt there was no confinement of body. It just felt like I extended and extended and extended for no end, just went on endlessly. And the feeling of gentle motion of floating and the feeling of, I call it love, because it was just such a powerful feeling that it's the feeling we get when we think about and talk about the principles, but it was so magnified. And all I could think is, I I need nothing more. I could stay here forever. And it was so beautiful. And then I had the thought, my daughters need me. And I was pulled back in my body and aware that I was in deep doo doo. I was in trouble. I wasn't breathing properly and I was badly injured. And so I was taken from there back to here. And so that's what I try and share with people. And I did that with one gentleman who was in the room. I explained to him that we are just energy. We're just a big ball of energy. And we're both energy and form and formlessness.
Mhm.
And the reason I know that is because the universe started as energy. There was nothing else. There was no planets, there was no sun, no moon. It was just energy out there. And that energy figured out how to combine itself and create mass, which is pretty amazing because what that tells us is the energy has an intelligence. It was able to figure out how to bind itself together and create mass. And from there, then planets evolved, and planets really started just with gravity and with gas and dust. So many, many, many years it took to create planets and sun and moon. But it all came from this energy, this intelligence that combined and created mass. So here we are as humans. We are absolutely, totally energy in form and formlessness. So once we realize that, we know we have that intelligence inside us, and we have access to that intelligence, which is the wisdom of all time. And for us to understand that and actually get a little glimpse of what that means, it means anything is possible for each and every one of us. Anything. Doesn't matter what we choose to do, we can do it if we just believe and drop our self-limiting beliefs. And this young man heard that, and he just went, wow. And he said, could you tell me a little bit about this? And he had specifics that he wanted to hear again. So I told him that, and I told him, when we understand that we're this beautiful energy, we know we're always okay. And no matter what is happening, we're okay. Even if the worst happens and we go to the other side, it's still okay there too. I can tell you that as well. And it's just such a settling feeling. And after we talked for a while, he left. And then my slot was Monday morning. I came back in, and there he was, ready to chat again. He said, oh, I had such a great weekend. And he just felt completely turned around. Even though he was still the same human being that he was on Friday, he was showing up with such a zest for life and just completely feeling and experiencing life differently. So that was just 2 conversations.
Yeah, I love that. And, as you're talking and sharing, I feel a shift in me too. I can imagine what he experienced. It's so, I love the way that you share that, and and the feeling along with how you share it. It's very profound. It's beautiful. I'm sure you had a huge impact on him and many other people that are coming into the rooms too. So we are actually, believe it or not, sort of we're winding down here. So I just want to just have you share, if somebody's listening that hasn't really heard anything about the principles before, I mean, what you just shared was so profound and so beautiful. But if there's anything you want to leave any of our listeners with too, anything further for them to ponder upon and hear here.
Yeah, what comes to mind is to really get the understanding that wisdom will always keep us safe if we listen. And the only way to hear wisdom is by getting quiet in your head and asking the question. And the first time that I was aware this happened to me was when I was very young again. And I had a person in a vehicle trying to lure me into the vehicle. And all I could think is, I have no idea what to do. What do I do? And then I got quiet, and it just unfolded for me completely and totally what to do. And I was safe, which if I had not listened to wisdom, I wouldn't be here today. And I did not even know what I was doing. It just happened for me, which is pretty amazing too. And everybody has that available to them all the time, all the time. Get quiet, ask the question, and listen. And no matter what question you have in life, the answer is there for you if you just do that.
Gosh, you are
and once
amazing.
you learn that. The sky's the limit, right?
Yeah, I love this. And it's so true. I mean, especially for young children, I think about some, young children, unfortunately, that sort of are told not to, that they're what they're experiencing is not true, or to not trust. I know for myself, particularly as the young child, I something looked a certain way to me, and I knew that this was the truth, but my mother innocently, for whatever her reason, would say, no, 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 that's not the truth. And I ended up getting disconnected from that wisdom, or not trusting it, because it would tell me one thing and then my mother would be telling me something completely different, or
Yeah.
other grown-ups that didn't have my best interest at heart. So you get disconnected from that. But I love what you say. It never went anywhere. I just was so confused. I didn't know that I could trust it. But I love what you're sharing, and it's so true. It is always in us. It's always guiding us. And if we just, instead of going up here to our personal thinking to try and solve a problem from that place, if we can just get quiet, and as you say, ask the question inside, what do I do? What's the next step? And we will be guided. And I love that. That's a beautiful, beautiful note to end on. And I can't thank you enough for being here. It's been so lovely spending this time with you. And I look forward to doing more things with you.
Well, thank you, Dale. Well, it's been a pleasure to be here.
Yeah.
And
Same.
one more thing I would say is lead with love. That's what we all need to do in this world.
Yes.
Lead with love and we'll be fine.
Yeah, that's very, very poignant for right now in the way the world is right now, to remember that. So I love that point too. So thank you for sharing that. And I hope to see you soon. Take care.
Oh, I'm sure we will, Dale. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much for listening to the show. If you're interested in learning more about my coaching and mentoring packages, please reach out to me at Adey-Jones@gmail.com. I would love to hear from you.